We begin with major economic news right in our own backyard. Kansas is certainly energized right now by the opening in Johnson County of Panasonic's largest factory ever.
1, 2, 3, your show!
The company officially opened its electric vehicle battery plant in DeSoto last week to fanfare from local and state leaders. This was years in the making. Kansas offered up $829 million in incentives to convince the tech giant to build its behemoth facility where the old sunflower ammo plant once stood.
I firmly believe this investment represents a strong opportunity for Panasonic, for our society, and for the people of Kansas.
It's the largest private business investment in Kansas history, expected to bring in some $2.5 billion to the state's economy every year. And these batteries are already coming off the assembly line. The complex itself is massive, with the site covering 300 acres. That is enough to hold more than 225 football fields. Right now, Panasonic says its plant can mill out 50,000 battery cells per day at a rate of about 70 per second, and they're just getting started. And as the plant comes online, the goal is to be up to full capacity by 2027 with 4,000 workers. Local leaders tell us that is huge when it comes to the county's future.
As we think about what we want for the future of Johnson County, it's to continue building on this foundation that's been established here for years to come. Great jobs, great schools, quality infrastructure, a safe community, and having a cornerstone like Panasonic for the thousands of jobs and the residual economic growth that will provide gives us an opportunity to have that option for the next generation.
Right now, Panasonic employs about 1,100 workers at the plant, and to get all of the perks of their deals with local and state governments in Kansas, they have to hire at least 2,500 full-time workers, spend a certain amount of money, and stay there for at least 15 years. Let's get to the heart of this big economic discussion with KMBC9's Matt Evans, who went to the grand opening last week. Matt, thanks for joining us. You've been watching this story, as we have, for years now.
Yeah.
This is a big deal for Kansas, and I imagine the region.
A huge deal for Kansas, Cody. In fact, the Kansas government says this is the largest single private investment in state history. Panasonic has already spent $4 billion on this plant. And in fact, Panasonic is a large company. It's been around for 107 years. This is the largest plant they've ever built. So both companies, both entities, that is, were very excited, obviously, about the grand opening. The Japanese ambassador to the U.S. was there. Sonic's CEO was there, who leads this massive corporation. The Kansas governor was not there, but other members of her administration were there, along with pretty much every elected official in Johnson County and all across the state of Kansas. So certainly this is a huge deal. Kansas had pitched for this, and they tried to get this for years. This took years of negotiating. There were a total of 12 states in the running. Panasonic said they looked at more than 100 sites. They wound up choosing Kansas for a number of different reasons. Not only was it that huge Apex bill that we covered when it passed in 2022, but also they said it was the hardworking people of Kansas and the Midwest that really had them choose this site. And they say, as they've been building this site, that's only really been reinvigorated because they believe they really made the right choice to be in Kansas.
Right, and the term I'm hearing is generational change from the local leaders who were there. What were they telling you?
Well, I mean, they're all about the jobs here, Cody.
Right.
This plant right now, as you mentioned, employs about 1,100 people, but when it's all fully operational, it should employ about 4,000. That's a lot of jobs for a city the size of DeSoto, Kansas. And there has been a massive job center in DeSoto before. Of course, this was the previous Sunflower Army ammunition plant that employed about 10,000 people. It was once the largest ammunition plant in the world back in World War II, and now you've got one of the largest automotive battery plants in the world there in DeSoto. So especially the mayor of DeSoto, he's very excited to see that economic and employment hub come back to a city where it once was.
We've been there too, to the ammo site. Just talk about the scope of this complex. This place is huge.
It's massive, Cody. It's about 300 acres, and they're going to have, whenever it's all said and done, 8 lines running at a time, producing a whole lot of batteries. And whenever you're talking about all of these different production lines and 4,000 employees, I mean, that's a giant footprint. We've covered lots of buildings with big footprints in Kansas City before. I mean, Amazon warehouses, we've been inside those. Those are massive. I don't know if I've ever been inside a building quite this massive. You know, we have, when we were trying to get a video of it, you have to back up off the building a long ways to kind of get a scope of just how large it is.
And milling out, I think they said 70 batteries a second.
They're pushing out right now about 50,000 a day. That's with line 1. Then eventually they want to get get all 8 lines going. They are hoping that target is going to be 2027. So their first battery started rolling off the line a week before the grand opening, and they say they're going to have those out to customers in about 4 to 6 weeks.
You know, Panasonic makes these batteries for several automakers, including Tesla, which has made a lot of headlines as of late, seen a major sales slump. We know you asked company leaders about that Monday.
We're in a brand new industry, so that industry is going to ebb and flow a little bit as she grows, and she will grow, and we're clearly going in one direction. It's not going to change. So it will ebb and flow a little bit. The beauty of Kansas is we can build these lines out. We've got customers that want them, so we should be in a good place.
What's the sense among people who are there of where this industry is headed? Because we know the Trump administration is also pulling many of the incentives to do business in this space.
Yeah, you're right, Cody. It's not only the incentives either, but there's a whole lot of things at play that Panasonic is looking at right now. Because it's not just the incentives, but it's also the fact that tariffs could play a big part in this. Even the Japanese ambassador mentioned that in his prepared remarks, saying that the Japanese and United States government are strong. They're hoping to come to some conclusion before that August 1st deadline, before additional tariffs kick in. But you're right, the incentives are getting pulled back for new and used EVs. Tesla has taken major sales hits. And then on top of that, you have all of those incentives being drawn back from the Trump administration. So there was reporting last week in an Asian news company that said that Panasonic was going to push out their full implementation several years back from that 2027 date. We did ask company leaders. They said that was simply not the case. They still plan to be fully operational by 2027 because they believe even though there might be ups and downs, they see as a whole this industry only growing over the long run.
What should we be watching in the long run?
Well, I think we need to watch where these sales go, how soon they can get to that full 4,000 employee mark. I mean, that's kind of the goal. They want to get to 4,000 employees by 2027. I mean, that's not that far out, and they're at about 1,100 right now. So, I mean, hiring another 3,000 or so folks in those few years, that's going to be a big lift. And we also need to watch how our local economy reacts to that, because that's a lot of jobs in that one place, and they're hoping to hire a lot of people from the Kansas City area, DeSoto and Kansas. So certainly there will be programs, and they've partnered with local high schools and colleges and universities to make sure that people are prepared to go into the workforce there. And that's another big part of this too, is keeping people local in Kansas that have the education, that have the skills to work in a place like Panasonic. Having this open, according to city officials, gives them an avenue to stay at home.
Right. We'll leave it there for now. Matt Evans, thanks for your reporting. Really appreciate it.
Cody.
Count on KMBC 9 News and Heart of the Matter as we watch the developments in DeSoto and the changes coming from the federal government. It's all on air and online at KMBC.com.